Back in November, I made a video about Mayweather's toughest opponents. By demand, let's discuss his easiest opponents. Let's start the list. This was in May of 1999. Mayweather was making his third defense of his WBC super featherweight title. Floyd was originally supposed to fight mandatory opponent Goya Vargas, but Vargas pulled out due to the flu. Number 14th ranked Justin Juco filled in. Boxing is a job, and when you are a contender, you must at least be 80% prepared already in training for a call-up just in case you are filling in for a title shot. Juco was already in training camp for a fight on May 29th. He took the fight with Floyd on May the 22nd. And guess what? He didn't start training till Wednesday, the week of the fight. Now, Juco did state that he was called up on a 2 days notice, but you were already supposedly in training camp for a fight the next weekend. From the start of the bell, Floyd completely shut out Juco. It looked like a sparring session, really, except Juco wasn't landing anything.
Provide Juco with his third defeat. And look at that defense there. Juco does not even touch him.
It really looked like Floyd didn't want to hurt the guy. But that all changed in round 8 when Juco was trying to put a last-ditch effort to knock out Floyd, or just trying to see what he can actually do. I don't know. So this goes from a light glorified sparring session to, okay, you overstayed your time in this fight and it's time to put you away. And literally, Floyd put him away that following round.
Thinking it over, and he's had enough. Floyd Mayweather Jr.
This fight is a classic case of HBO not liking the matchup and playing the role of the matchmaker when that is not their job, and heavily criticizing this matchup. This fight was a WBC title eliminator. Whoever wins gets a title shot, so I don't know what the fuss is. Either way, regardless of the belt organization, he would have to do a title elimination fight since Floyd did not have the pool as he does today. The caption to this poster is pretty funny looking at it in today's perspective. Henry had Miguel Cotto as his sparring partner for the fight, and Cotto stated this will be a test if Floyd can deal with a strong, well-conditioned junior welterweight. This was Floyd's second fight at junior welter. Now, his first fight was against DeMarcus Corley, and as I explained in my toughest Mayweather opponent video, that was the first fight that changed how Floyd fought in higher weight classes. He really tweaked on many pieces of his game, and Henry was that perfect guy to test that out. Despite Henry trying to mimic what Corley did, Floyd perfected switching from offense to defense, taking calculated risk and opening up on offense when it was necessary. And due to that, he got hit far less. He didn't get hit with shots he should have never gotten hit with in the first place. He was able to slow down the fight to his own pace, which completely frustrated and tired out Henry mentally and physically, to where round by round, Floyd would pick up the tab on offense to where he was ultimately able to stop Henry in the 8th round. This was Floyd's first title defense of his super featherweight title, and Freddie was coming to the fight with a 20+ win streak, big TKO victory against Arturo Gatti, and with enough hype around him to get Kid Rock to perform for his ring walk, which I don't know that means much, to be honest, regarding the ring walk performance.
Right now it's Mayweather. That's all I do is dream Mayweather, eat Mayweather, sleep Mayweather, train Mayweather. I want Mayweather. Give me Mayweather. I'll be happy then.
It'll be a short night. Real short. And the end result is going to be Floyd Mayweather's going to still be WBC world champion.
The fight didn't even last 2 rounds. Floyd was just too fast and too good.
Pops away, and Freddie almost went down. He won't take a knee, but he ends up throwing back. one's gonna be stopped too.
Gaddy was actually going through a renaissance in his career, with the help of trainer Buddy McGurk changing Gaddy from a slugger to a boxer puncher. Since the first Ward fight, Gaddy was on a 5-fight win streak. He was ranked number 1 in the world by Ring Magazine, while Floyd was ranked number 3 in the world. So as I was talking about before with the Henry Brusalis fight, HBO was downplaying the significance of this matchup. The Henry fight was a title eliminator bout for Gaddy's belt. Winner fights Gaddy. Was HBO purposely downplaying Mayweather versus Brusalis because they didn't want Floyd to fight Gaddy and most likely take his title away, making it one last cash cow with a belt among the network stable? Or did they originally want Floyd to go for another belt organization and unify against Gaddy in a huge fight? Conspiracy? I think not. The fight was still big. Floyd and Arturo got huge paydays, $3.2 million for Mayweather, who at the time was the B side, and Gaddy, who earned $3.5 million. This was Floyd's first pay-per-view fight in which he was the headline, and the fight earned a respectable 340 pay-per-view buys, in which for the very little money put in promoting this fight, it was a success, especially at the gate. The fight sold out the boardwalk with 12,675 people who attended the fight. So what else can I say here? You already know what happened in this fight. Gaddy gets completely outclassed, and Buddy McGurk did the right thing and put an end to this fight after the 6th round. Floyd becoming champion in his 3rd weight class. This was Floyd's first fight, parting ways with HBO to sign a record-breaking contract with Showtime, becoming the most paid athlete in the world. His first opponent was against Robert Guerrero. This was Guerrero's 5th weight class, and boxing fans saw what he really could do when he became the IBF featherweight champion back in '06. Through the years, he later became the IBF super featherweight champion, unfortunately not getting a title shot at lightweight despite being Caceres for the interim WBO and WBA titles in the new weight class of welterweight. His first fight was against number 10 ranked Selig Aydin, which that was a very exciting fight that grabbed everyone's attention. It was for the WBC interim title. The winner fights Floyd Mayweather. What really earned the shot to fight Floyd was his matchup against Andre Berto. It was for the most part similar to Ortiz versus Berto years prior, with Berto missing out on the Mayweather sweepstakes once again. Guerrero was ranked number 3 in the world, and Mayweather was at number 1. This was Mayweather's first defense, but the second reign of the WBC welterweight title. This was also for the vacant Ring Magazine and Lineal title as well, so you got a lot on the line here. Many fans were expecting Robert to do a better job than what Ortiz and Miguel Cotto did against Floyd, and that was not the case. He did far worse. I can't find a round, not even a complimentary round, to give Guerrero. It was a complete shutout. Even though most will say, oh, it's not a big deal, but all 3 judges gave Guerrero 3 rounds. I'm trying to find out what rounds could that be. If you think what rounds that could be, please write in the comments. There was an immense hype in the build-up for this fight. This was actually supposed to be a unification bout for the IBF belt as well. According to the tale, Corrales' managers went behind Corrales' back and notified the IBF that he will be vacating the belt because he can no longer make the weight. Corrales has since denied he agreed to vacate the title. 4 months before this fight took place, Corrales demolishes Angel Manfredi in 3 rounds.
Which wouldn't be a bad stoppage.
No, it would be justifiable. But the fact that Manfredi at any opportunity will punch back.
Are you watching Floyd Mayweather Jr.?
He is asked, do you want to wait and fight Floyd at lightweight or follow up and fight him at super feather as soon as possible? He said he's ready and doesn't care where it's at.
One last question. Supposed showdown with Floyd Mayweather Jr. Do you think it should happen quickly? Do you want to wait until you move up to 135 pounds? What is your take on that?
You know what? Anytime, I'm ready and willing. Junior lightweight, I don't care.
So, fight was shortly made, and this was Floyd's biggest test and one of his tallest opponents. The fight started off very technical. Floyd showed respect and he was playing the game of chess. which is the right thing to do. The guy's huge and has knockout power. 33 wins, 27 knockouts, 3-fight knockout streak. I mean, you gotta watch out here.
Body shots from Corrales and a right hand upstairs land.
This just shows here how good of an eye Floyd Sr. has. Though he was spectating the fight, he was able to get close enough to Floyd and tell him, keep doing what you're doing. Rounds 6 through 9, he's ready to go. And that was said at the end of the second round.
7th, 8th, 9th round, he be ready to go. Look, Floyd, keep doing what you're doing, Floyd. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep your hand up good. 7th, 8th, 9th round, he ready to go.
All right, now they do pay attention to it.
Baby. 7th or 8th, he ready to go.
Both Roger and Floyd turning to listen to what Floyd Sr. had to say.
Round 6, despite Floyd pretty much winning every round, the 6th would be his biggest.
Boom. Just like that, Mayweather was gone, and he stepped back into land 3 punches.
Then follow up in round 7, Corrales was dropped for the first time in the fight. After a couple more knockdowns, and after round 9, Corrales was finished off and the corner threw in the towel.
Right hand, another knockdown, 5th knockdown of the fight, 5th knockdown of Corrales' career. Another mark of what a performance it's been. Ray Woods is up on the apron, that's going to be the end of the fight. And Corrales goes over and nearly accosts his dad.
Al Heyman was really trying to get this fight made for years. Berto was made to fight Floyd, but things not going according to the plans happened, and it was just a mishap over a mishap. It was like trying to force a square block through a circle opening, but in due time, with extreme force, with a mallet, that block will eventually break through, and Berto was able to win the WBA interim title against Josecito Lopez in a hard-fought battle. Now, as far as Mayweather opponents go, I don't think anyone who fought Floyd was any more confused as Berto. This guy looked like he came into the fight with no game plan. He didn't try to emulate other fighters who had success against Floyd. He didn't do any of that. He just did him. And it really showed as Floyd gave him a boxing lesson of the decade, winning by a landslide. Now, again here, I know it's not a big deal, but who would give Berto a round if not 2 to 3 rounds? I know Dave Moretti and Steve Weisfeld just trying to be nice, but this was a shutout here, and I think he deserved a shutout on the scorecards. That's on paper forever. Berto can be like 40, 50 years from now when people have long forgotten the tale of this fight and be like, yeah, I totally won 3 rounds on the great Floyd Mayweather. I really stuck it to him there. Now, styles make fights, but based on what we saw Marquez do to Pacquiao and what Pacquiao was able to accomplish at welterweight, then when looking in retrospect what Marquez was later able to accomplish at welter, this easily takes the top 3 on the list. Mayweather just completely outclasses Marquez, and despite not being in the ring for 2 years, we all know he was boxing behind closed doors. The level of sharpness to his craft was insane. This part here pretty much sums up the fight. Marquez lands a perfect right hand on Floyd. Mayweather made a bet with himself that Marquez couldn't land that same shot again. He purposely recreates the same situation and challenged Marquez to try it again, without leading him on to think that he was challenging him. Marquez goes for it again, and before he could even get it off, Floyd had already countered him and got back to his original route of circling the ring. Baltimore beats Judah for the lineal and WBC title. Since Baltimore didn't pay sanction fees, he was not awarded the other titles that were on the line, which was the WBA and IBF. Carlos will go on to beating Gaddy, and here we go with the Floyd fight. Floyd, before this fight, fought Judah for the IBF and IBO titles, which he was criticized for, but I felt like he fought Judah first because obviously Baltimore fought Zab at 20%. It was a known fact that he didn't train for the fight. So he fought and beat Zab because if he were to fight Baltimore, he wouldn't really get any credit. This guy became the legitimate welterweight champion by a fluke. So on fight day, Mayweather weighed in at 149 pounds. and Baltimore came in at 169 pounds. Now, this is a crazy weight advantage here. It worked in Maidana's favor. He weighed in incredibly heavy as well, but Carlos Baltimore ain't no Maidana. This man is slow. He throws punches like he's underwater. His feet are held down by cement blocks. I don't think I've seen such a mismatch speed comparison in a Floyd fight ever. You'll have to go back to his original first 10 bouts. It's insane how slow this man is, but it would be stupid to stand toe to toe with this guy. Gaddy learned the hard way. Floyd did not take the risk and won the fight easily on his terms. This fight just takes the cake here. For the legit MMA/UFC fans, y'all knew this man had no chance in the world. The conversations I was in with casuals I personally know telling me Conor is going to whoop Floyd was insane. My brother was on deployment in the Marine Corps when this fight was going down, and he hilariously won quite a bit of money on the boat because people were somehow suckered in to believing this guy could win. A fair amount of fight fans thought that Floyd was going to run the whole fight. And the irony is killing me here because the only guy who was doing the real running was Conor. When Floyd is fighting like Pretty Boy Floyd, stalking you and pressuring you round by round, that's a huge problem on your end. He is no longer taking this fight seriously. He has absolutely no respect for your power and skills. This part was absolutely hilarious here. So Conor does this weird, I'm just gonna call it what it is. It's running. It's literally running. He literally turns and runs. He did this a lot against Nate Diaz. Now, you can get away with that in the octagon, but not in the boxing ring. Conor tried pulling that and blindly ran right into a punch. I mean, he was able to slide a punch of his own, but Floyd's punch had way more of an effect. You can't make this up at all. I tried telling my friends because they don't know any better. Conor's stamina makes Shannon Briggs look like a prime Julio Cesar Chavez. Yeah, in MMA there are plenty of other things to worry about that can really tire you out. But watching Conor, and he seems just out of it in the championship rounds. He can barely go 5. Now, back to the fight. Conor is tired by the 6th round. Floyd is completely unbothered by anything he was doing, just kept walking him down, pecking away, till Conor was too exhausted to do anything, and finished him off in round 10. Now, before we wrap things up here, let's talk about why was this fight made in the first place. 1, money, which is obvious. 2, unifying both MMA and boxing fans. This was unprecedented. The pay-per-view numbers clearly showed why, but also the fact this was considered a professional fight with no headgear or anything, thanks to Conor getting his boxing license. Since this fight was so big, the WBC sanctioned it and made a belt for this fight just so it can be 12 rounds instead of 10 to add on to the value for the people who bought this, because who would pay $100 for a 10-round non-title exhibition? 3, to laugh at the bigwigs and the mob that has been protecting Rocky Marciano's 49-0 record. Not Rocky himself, obviously. I mean, good man. Now, this record has been protected for quite some time. It's not proven, but it's speculated that is. Fighters who came close to reaching it received a draw, nullifying them from beating it, like Ricardo Lopez, Chris John, etc., or losing entirely due to questionable judging or officiating by the ref. Now, Floyd was not only able to beat the record, but he was able to do it fighting a guy with a 0-0 boxing record. Have the majority believe he can potentially lose, and also laugh his way to the bank, raking in $275 million. And on top of that, this is Floyd Mayweather's easiest opponents. For more videos like these, be sure to like, and if you're new, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram for future updates, memes, boxing news, whatever. I'm Office Honcho, and I'm out.